welcome to another exciting edition of Rampage Pro Wrestling. Ben Masters at ringside with Bill Behrens here at the RPW Arena at Johnny G's Fun Center in Warner Robins, Georgia, the hottest ticket in town. If you're missing Rampage Pro Wrestling, you're missing something big. And speaking of big, here comes the biggest thing that's come down here in a long time. And it's Charlie Cash and the brand new NWA RPW Tag Team Champions, the Cash Vault, Adonis, and hit for hire Bobby Moore, but they did not get those titles easily.
Tables, ladders, and chairs match. Tremendous opponents with the three teams involved, but Bobby Moore able to get the pin on Murder One to become new champions. Conspicuous by his absence for that match, Charlie Cash back here for their first title defense here on Rampage Television.
And we'll see what kind of champions they are. We know certainly we have two other teams who on this program are going to challenge one another for the number one contender spot.
Unfortunately, I think Charlie's going to talk.
It's a celebration today. Look at the new RPW champions right here. Bobby Moore and Big Rob Adonis. Now that we got that meddling Doc out of the way and the plan was laid down and carried out, hey, it was beautiful, wasn't it? Now look, I appreciate you guys being so worried about me. You said after I was assaulted by Crew Jones, saying, look, Charlie, we real worried. We don't want to be distracted from the match. So let you just go procure the hotel room, procure the champagne, procure the fine food for a big celebration. Oh, a party it was indeed. I even found out about Bobby Moore. All the ladies was, Bobby Moore, Bobby Moore.
Really?
Oh, so anyway, hey, I know you got miserable lives. Our lives are so much, but let's make somebody else's lives miserable. Bring them on out. Woo, bring them on out, baby, let's go.
Has nothing to do with being finger looking good, I'm assuming,
no,
though.
I don't think so. Extra crispy, maybe.
No.
Well, they're going to be challenged here by a great duo.
Their opponents weighing in
Drew
at a
Adler
total
and
combined
Chris
weight
Jacobs,
of 384
two great fan favorites.
pounds.
And we haven't seen Drew Adler team with Chris Jacobs until recently.
Jacobs!
Before, of course, he was with Marvelous Michael Stevens, and we know how that turned out. But we know that Drew Adler has made a long push through Rampage Pro Wrestling since his debut, and great to see him in the ring with champions. Of course, if they should defeat these champions, they would be in line for a title match, that's for sure.
Well, actually, I understand this has actually been billed as a title match in this particular case. They decided to put the titles on the line, even though we do have coming up in another week of television, we'll have a tag team. In fact, this week of television, we're going to have a tag team title match to determine the number one contenders. Whoever wins this match will have major opponents in two former champions, Hot Like Lava, and the two-time champions, the Usual Suspects.
Great main event coming up on this TV program. Call somebody and tell them we are on the air. Also, the NWA RPW TV champion, Frankie Valentine, will defend his title in this program, championship program here.
You got to give a little bit of credit here to Charlie Cash and his Cash Vault. A lot of confidence being shown. They could have gotten away with a non-title match here, as you and I know. That's what we were told initially. I was just told coming out that it had been changed. The Cash Vault said, we'll put the titles on the line. We're fighting champions. Sort of surprised me.
Couple of arm drags, shoots him off, and caught that time with a big lariat by Rob Adonis. And this tag team, like them or not, a very devastating tag team. They're going to be a hard team to beat, that's for sure. And especially with Charlie Cash at ringside.
Adonis already taking over here on Officer Chris Jacobs. And to say that there's a mismatch in experience here is an understatement. Officer Chris Jacobs barely getting started in the wrestling business, although quite impressive for a rookie. But Rob Adonis, a veteran of the wrestling wars and one of the biggest men, if not the biggest man in Rampage Pro Wrestling. Only argument there might be Michael Judas. There's a formidable.
He's going to be here live on Sunday, December 4th at 2 p.m.
He sure is.
And we look forward to seeing him back in action. And I'm sure that Jeremy Vane is a little uncomfortable about him being anywhere that he's going to be.
Knocked Drew Adler off the ring apron, does Bobby Moore, back taken over on Officer Chris Jacobs. Adler going down. He's just going to be forced to get to the corner. Dustin Robinson doing his job there, maintaining order. Neutral man, extra man has to be in that neutral corner. Bobby Moore lights up Officer Chris Jacobs with a vicious chop right there.
Hope all the fans had a great Thanksgiving holiday, and we look forward to the Christmas season. Remember, December 4th here live back here at Johnny G's Fun Center. And then on December 18th, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, will be here defending his title. And then we'll be taking off Christmas and New Year's and back on January 15th. If you have any questions about that, go to RampageProWrestling.net for more information. And those DVDs are great Christmas presents. You should go by there, great stocking stuffers. And now I know also that Rampage Radio is on the air on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on WPLA AM 1670. So Rampage Pro Wrestling is on fire, and everyone's taking notice. Right now, Rob Adonis just pummeling Jacobs here. And, you know, I'm sure there's some kind of satisfaction there that knowing that Chris Jacobs is an officer of the law, Rob Adonis probably enjoys pummeling him.
Well, smartly, they isolated the most inexperienced man in the match early in the match and have been dominating him ever since. Right there, Drew Adler tried to get a tag. Not really a smart move by Rob Adonis to throw the man in, but that's how cocky they are right now and how confident they are. They're even toying with the man in the tag corner, and right there, knock him out of the way.
Look at the power of this Rob Adonis, just bullying this man around the ring. And Chris Jacobs, no small man. Tag is made and hit for hire. Bobby Moore coming in behind him, rolls him up. Brute force he is in the ring.
Well, not only has some wrestling training does Officer Chris Jacobs, but obviously he has self-defense training from the police academy. This is a licensed officer.
And he also worked with Mr. Wrestling number 2, one of the biggest legends in pro wrestling.
Very much so. Understand he's trying to develop that high knee lift of Wrestling 2. Not something that you can simply go throw into a match without a lot of practice.
And 2 won a lot of matches and titles with that knee lift. Good go behind. Schoolboy rolls him up here. 2 count by Officer Chris Jacobs.
Fans that watch our television programming, in fact, are seeing a new commercial for the Eye Center that involves Wrestling 2.
That's right, and if you are not a familiar person with Mr. Wrestling number 2, at one time he was the John Cena of Georgia. I mean, he was the man in Georgia Championship Wrestling for a long, long time.
Very much so. A president's
and
mother.
No one ever took his mask off.
President's mother's favorite wrestler.
Including Dr. Johnny Gayton.
That's true.
Yes, and Miss William was the #1 fan of Mr. Wrestling number 2. He had breakfast, I know, on several occasions. He was invited to the inauguration. President Jimmy Carter did not go because they wouldn't let him wear the mask. That's how much that mask meant to him. He still does today.
Darn that Secret Service.
Rob Adonis now with an uppercut here, blow to Officer Chris Jacobs. On the ropes now, being pulled up. Just look at the manhandling he's doing on this man. Obviously enjoying it. Side suplex that time, caught it backwards.
You know, we talk about a legend like Wrestling 2, legend of the National Wrestling Alliance, the oldest, largest sanctioning body in professional wrestling, tremendous history in the state of Georgia. And we have a wrestling legend, NWA legend, with us right now as the sheriff at Rampage Pro Wrestling, Thunderbolt Patterson, appointed by Doc Gayton just a week or so ago. And what a tremendous thing that is to have Thunderbolt Patterson. Not only do you have all of that history, all of that talent, but the experience, the wisdom that he can bring to the locker room. Just a tremendous asset to Rampage Pro Wrestling is Thunderbolt Patterson.
One of the top draws in the wrestling history of Georgia for sure, and all over the United States. That time a jawbuster by Officer Chris Jacobs. Thunderbolt Patterson, a former Brass Knucks champion, as well as National Wrestling Alliance TV
There's
champion.
the tag right there, Ben. Drew Adler in for the first time. Ducks one, goes with a foot in the corner, comes off. House of Fire here, clothesline. Big running knee there. Bobby Moore takes another flying leg lariat. Bobby Moore in La La Land as Drew Adler gets ready to come into the corner, catches him with that foot, flush to the side of the face, brings him up.
Fireman's scary,
Can't
but
get him
slipped
right
off, raked his eyes.
Bye-bye, Bobby.
Sidestep there by Adler. Adler's going to fly now. Oh, ducks a clothesline.
Tag there. I'm not sure that was a good idea, but maybe it is. Officer Chris Jacobs, the legal man right now. Rob Adonis has no idea. Right there, he's finding out. Hard blows to the side of the face. Ducks one right there. Bobby Moore back in, though. Catches him with that running foot. There's a possibility for a pin here.
And they've got him 1, 2, 3, and the winners, and still NWA RPW Tag Team Champions, the Cash Vault. Hit for hire, Bobby Moore and Rob Adonis. Valiant effort there by Drew Adler. Missed that move on the outside. That was a high-risk maneuver. Did not pay off for him, but it did pay off for these champions. And we'll find out in our main event for TV today who they'll be challenging next, defending their titles against, because it'll either be Hotline Lava or these were suspects. Stay tuned to find out in our main event. More Rampage Pro Wrestling coming right up.